What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate-based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply one click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layered backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. What's up, everybody?
How's it going? Welcome back to the One Set Podcast. It is our season 4 premiere. And my name is Jim Green, along with my co-host, my best friend, my brother, Anthony Irvin. And I can't believe we are in our 4th year running with this here.
Number 4.
It's just...
Number 4. Wow. I never would have thought, and we keep on saying the same thing every year. I never would have thought, but it's, I just can't say anything more. I never would have thought we would have had a 4-year running podcast when we started this out. We just literally had an idea of like, hey, let's start a podcast because we like listening to podcasts. And, you know, what do we want to do? When do we do this? Let's just talk. Let's talk about little things. And every season, we just started getting more comfortable with talking about, you know, our lives and, you know, music and dance, and you know, then we started implementing, you know, wrestling and other sports, and now we're getting into, you know, really talking more about in like the NFL, what's going on with basketball, and you know, we're implementing more of our love for wrestling into the podcast, and that really shined in season 3 with, you know, the live podcast. That was probably, you know, especially for me, I'm not sure. I'm sure Jim can agree that it was the highlight, if not the top 3 highlights of the year for season 3. Just being able to be there, and then having a couple people come up to us that we never knew say that we listened to you guys. That was so humbling to hear. And, you know, even if, you know, we are one of the smaller podcasts, you know, we went into this not expecting to be the top 10 podcast in the world, but we just had this as an outlet to talk about our daily lives. And it's, I think in some way, it's definitely helped us get our things out every week and have something dedicated every week to do, you know?
Anthony, I couldn't have said all that any better than me, man. Like, seriously, I'm just sitting here.
Right off the dome.
I'm just sitting here listening to this gospel that you are spilling, and I'm like, he's literally speaking all of the right words about my sentiments on how I feel about this podcast. Like, never expected to be anything big, but just to know when we did the WrestleMania live stream and have, like you said, just nobody that we've ever seen in our lives be like, oh yeah, I know you guys. I've seen you. I've listened to your stuff. It's just like we obviously know people watch our stuff. Like we see the view counts, right? But
absolutely.
To just catch it out in public, in person.
I just can't stop thinking about it half the time. It's like, you know, you think when you do these things that, yeah, you have your friends watch, you have your parents and close people watching, and every once in a while you'll come up to things and say like, "Oh yeah, I saw your podcast, man," and like people around your circle, but just going and seeing that somebody you never met before and just come up and says, "Yeah, we actually listened to you." That was like ungodly to the point where it was like, I never would have thought.
Yeah.
We always think, because you never really see, who is actually really watching other than the people you may know every week. But it's cool to know that we have gained, some followers that,
Don't even know.
don't even know us and look forward to it.
Don't even know us at all, right?
And they look forward to what we're putting out. So to me, that just always, especially with music, that's what keeps me going, is for the people that actually I may not know who has like listened, and the one little comment will just be like, I might have just been having an off day. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I still, having the same passion for this? Do I want to continue this? Then I'll have like somebody just come up and, be like, yeah, man, you're really good. You're really, you could tell that you're having fun up there. Thank you for, especially at like the shows that I'm doing. And that just reassures me that I do have a talent for this. I do have some type of passion and people like what I'm doing. So that just continues to keep me doing what I'm doing. And the same thing for the podcast, man. It just, keeps us going to know that, we're not only doing this for us, but for the people that look forward to it every week.
Yeah, 100%. And we are so grateful for you guys. I mean, if Anthony's testimony right here ain't enough, I don't know what else would be. Because I mean, seriously, I think our second year, like the first year was like, all right, we're testing this out, right? Our first season,
definitely first season was like, just testing the waters, testing things out, because you could definitely tell we were both like, okay,
we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. We're just like going through the motions, and especially for you, because it was your first time behind a microphone, and definitely just being vulnerable, talking about certain things, and so I kind of had to carry you into this person you are right now. And again, I'll just say, just from, and I told you, wait until we get to episode 100. You're gonna look back at episode 1 and be like, totally different person than what I am now. And we're almost crashing in on 160, and we're even that much more brighter than we were at 100.
I mean, yeah, before we started episode 1, the thought of me doing an episode alone was baffling to me. I was just like,
exactly,
not on my radar. I was like, I can't see myself just like talking to a computer and a webcam.
It's tough.
And it's not. It's certainly easier to engage in conversation back and forth. Like
absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
Bill Burr running his own solo podcast for the last 15 plus years, like
by himself every week. Yeah, that's
just
that. Yeah, respect.
I mean, I don't love to talk like that, right? Some people, they will admit like, I love to talk. Sorry if I talk too much. I love to talk. And like, if that's their jam, and I'm not judging them. For me to like have the thought of doing that ever, I would have been like, yeah, I really can't see myself doing that.
I think it came at a good time too, because, especially with Grayson coming this time last year, if that would have happened in like season 1 or season 2, trying to have like, solo episodes, especially for both of us, because we both did solo episodes in season 3 for the first time for the podcast. And even for me, with doing a podcast on my own prior to this one, I hadn't done like a solo one in a while. So even for me doing them, it was like, okay, I have to get back into this type of mode to be like, okay, I don't have anybody to bounce off of. So you had to kind of go back to be like, okay, what do I want to talk about? I have a main topic, but then after that, it's like, you don't want to freeze up and be like, all right, we'll see you guys. It's 10 minutes, never mind. But
or damn it, I really like got lost in my train of thought. I don't even know what I was saying, and then you just scratch it, delete it, and it's gone. Like,
yeah,
nah.
or it. So it couldn't have happened at a better time where we were at a point where we were comfortable behind the mics and being able to be in our own, to have solo episodes and be able to have the point where we were being able to take on more responsibilities with the podcast. Because again, we do this all by ourselves. We don't have anybody else working behind the scenes with us. We do all our own edits. We do all our own promos, everything. Like, we don't have the money to, go and have a company, do all our edits and promos and everything. So every episode you guys see, it's done by either me or Jim.
And for the first year, like our first season, you did everything behind the scenes, all of it.
Yeah. And again, not saying that it was hard, but I love doing that type of stuff. So I didn't think of it as like a job, but again, it takes a toll, but it was great to be able to, cause we've always wanted to be able to start implementing the fact that we can both do editing and do different things. So it makes the workflow a lot easier to be like, okay, if there's a week where, something outside of recording, we have to get something done, but one of us can't, commit to editing, we can be like, all right, if Jim's not gonna be able to do it, I'll do it. If I'm not gonna be able to do it, I know Jim can handle it. And that just made season 3 so much more smoother. In my eye, I know we were a little lackadaisical on the content part of it, but hey, life got the best of us last year, especially, and this is not a bad thing coming from it. Now, having 2 boys, it definitely takes a lot more to really get those things out, but that's going to be one thing to kind of implement in season 4, is to get more content out and find ways for us to be more engaging with you guys. And, we want to definitely try to, continue to get that Patreon watch along going. Cause, I know we had fun with the one we did last year, a couple months back, but we definitely want to try to, implement some new things. And, season 4 is another year for growth. Yeah.
And I am excited to see what that growth might be. Season 2, I feel like we had our highest viewed episodes, right?
Yeah.
And that to me, that and a lot of the shorts that you were putting out there were getting tens of thousands of likes on them. And
yeah,
like that was like the season 2 growth for us, where we really hit our stride with our content was probably our best in season 2.
Probably the best on point. Absolutely.
Yeah. Season 3 highlight, definitely that WrestleMania live stream, man. So much fun.
The Uncle Howdy video that gained, like, now I think it's up to like 22,000 views.
Yeah,
on YouTube. Never would have thought when I clicked that upload button that would have reached 22,000 people. That was insane. And that once it clicked, it was like one of those things, like it uploaded at the right time in the right amount of like space, and everybody was just watching it. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I instantly told Jim, like, dude, this thing's literally blowing up. And we've had, like Jim was saying, we've had our videos that, blown up a couple thousand and couple this, and we're like, whoa, this is like nuts. Like our phones are going off the hinge. But like, just to see an official like YouTube, because we've gotten our TikTok viral video, we've gotten our Instagram viral video, but seeing the YouTube one officially go, we're like, oh, that was cool. So, at least we've had, our, high counts on each one of our socials at this point.
Yeah, I am excited to see what is like the big takeaway from season 4. I'm looking forward, dude. We are fastly approaching, I should say, because we can't believe we are doing this even right now. 4 years. Right. This is our start of our 4th season. We've done 3 full years already. I can't wait for episode 200.
And I was going to bring that up too, that, I can't wait for this year for us to officially get to 200.
Yeah.
Because again, we'll look back at 100, be comparing how everything is in another 100 episodes.
Yeah.
So, we will definitely be thinking of how we can boost up episode 200 for you guys, because I know me and Jim did like a music and dance thing for that. So we'll have to think of something pretty cool to do for you guys for 200, or maybe even get you guys involved in somehow. We haven't thought of it yet, but just, putting some things out there. It's just, we have a lot of different things we can probably do for this one to make it even better.
I remember something that you proposed.
I remember too, but I got to go back, and I don't even know what episode it was.
But I remember you said something to me off air.
Yeah.
That you wanted to do for episode 150. And I think it was back in the summer.
Right.
And
I remember us talking about it.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
Yes.
To be honest, I don't remember what it was.
Okay, I got it. And I'm just going to put this out there.
Good. If you remember it, yeah.
Because I kind of like it.
I remember it being a good idea, and we were both stoked on it.
For me, I just felt like when you proposed it to me, I think it was like July, and episode 150 was like the end of November or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, this isn't really a good time frame. Like, for something that you have proposed, I was like, I would want a good amount of time.
For sure.
So I'm like, we didn't even talk about this, so I'm really just catching Anthony by surprise here, and I'm gonna pitch. I'm gonna pitch this on the air.
Let's do it.
Anthony's concept, not my idea. I just get the credit for remembering it. And again, this is from like 5-6 months ago. Anthony had pitched to me for episode 150. I was thinking maybe I could learn a dance, as in you learn a dance, and me.
That's right.
Me learn a guitar, like learn a song to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, now I remember. Okay.
So that is like, we're coming up on episode 160. I honestly don't know what number we're on right now, which is a good thing, right? Like that's how many. That's just a testament to how many episodes that we've done. But
I think this is 159, so next week will be 160.
Okay, so
yeah,
take a week to wrap your brain around this, and then we would have 40 weeks until episode 200, which will take us to the 41st week of 2025, which I'm just going to go to the end of it and work backwards. But I'm going to tell you 11 weeks before the end of the year is going to be, it's going to be the end of October.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in 2026.
Whoopsie.
I was really swiping that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, yeah, we're looking like episode 200 is somewhere around October 10th.
Okay.
So, should we agree to terms?
Let's agree.
Let's agree to terms, man.
All right, so Jim is going to teach me a dance. I'm going to teach him something on guitar. Now, again, we'll both play within our means where I'm not going to be giving him an advanced type of thing for him to play. I'll give him something that it could be a challenge, but nothing that's out of bounds. And I would like to think Jim would do the same thing. Nothing that he's not going to be making me do a backflip where I can't even do a cartwwheel at this point. Like,
you could do a cartwheel. Don't sell yourself short.
Probably. We'll see.
I'm going to choreograph a cartwheel on your
Whoopsie.
How about that?
There you go. Damn it. But yeah, we'll both be within our means. Give ourselves a little bit of a challenge, but nothing that's going to be like, okay, I definitely can't do that.
Okay, so let's do this.
Let's set it straight here. So
let's set it straight here, but let's take the week so that next episode we will have the full parameters as to what the ultimate 40-week challenge entails. Because we gotta make it make sense. Like 40 weeks, am I giving you a 30-second dance? Am I giving you a minute and a half dance? Like,
even more so why I have to get in shape this year, because if it's even more than like probably 1 or 2 minutes, I'm gonna die. So
and I wouldn't give you anything longer than 2 minutes. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
But that's the ceiling,
right.
right? I'm in my head. I'm like 40 weeks. 30 seconds would be like the minimum.
How long was the dance we did at the wedding? That was like,
I want to say like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. So I learned that in a night.
Yeah.
Give or take. So a 2-minute regime. Yeah. I mean, it would probably take me like a couple weeks to kind of get everything down, but yeah, I'm committed to that. I think I can, do something of that nature. And then I can, either write something for you or think of a song that's already out there and
that I could just learn it and practice it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be the move. I don't.
Now the thing is here.
I don't know if I would find a dance that I would be like, okay, I need you to learn that and do it. Unless if it was like the Thriller dance.
Yeah, right.
Something like that. But like, I don't know that many routines that I could just be like, oh, from this music video, I want you to learn this, because most music video stuff, I wouldn't expect you to be doing. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I could probably look back at routines that I choreographed and be like, okay, is there a routine that is sizable that I could work this into, like revamp it into something that Anthony could learn? So I could do that, or I could literally just do the job and choreograph it for you and just be like, this, like, I'm choreographing this for you and I'm giving it to you and I want to see what you do with it. I think I'm going to do that because I want you to appreciate it. I want you to appreciate this process, because then I would just literally create a routine and say, this is literally just yours.
Exactly.
And then you can be like, all right, I think I can do this. And I think we should have, I like how I said next week we're going to list the full parameters, and we're just talking about it right now.
Pretty much, yeah. We're just skimming through ideas, but we'll give the full detail of, like, the official thing with it. So my thing with my idea, and again, just going off of strict dome thinking, the challenge with me for you is not just playing, a guitar riff or a guitar chord progression, but do I challenge you something, making the guitar progression something simple, but then having you like sing something over top of it? So that's going to be something that I'll think of, either like learning like again, nothing too challenging, but like either learning a song that, like, okay, you learn the chord progression, then you sing over top of it, or you just learn like a riff, because riffs are just, things in general that you can just, learn because you have tablature and everything. Because that's more than enough, because sometimes people can't even sing over riffs. I know I have to break it down to like slowing it down and learning where certain chords come in and where notes and the lyrics come. So sometimes playing riffs over lyrics are harder for me than doing chords and lyrics. So that'll be what I have to think about, and I'll come back to you. We'll come back in the next episode and I'll think of what I want to do.
Okay. I will request, since like I kind of like just in my head, I want you to pick 2 songs for me. Pick one that is it would be a way harder thing to learn on the guitar, but it's no singing.
Cool.
So just find something where it's like, okay, I could just focus on learning it on the guitar, but I will have to practice a lot. Right. Or if you find me something easier to play, but you want me to sing on top of it, like, one from each of those spectrums and we're good. And I'm guessing you'll have a lot of questions and concerns about the dance that I choreographed for you.
There will definitely be some questions, but it's going to be fun because, again, I've always wanted to, do a dance like together, and I know we've done that, but now it's actually, learning a dance that you either, just come up with and say, hey, this is something that I want you to do, or just something that, like, obviously, like, oh, this is already out there, but I think this might be up to your standard, and this is what it is, and go do it, and, repeat it. And it's kind of the same thing that I'll do. Do I want to make something and have you repeat it, or have something that's already out there from a song that's already out there, but I feel it might be in your level, and giving you like the two different things of like maybe giving you something that's more of a riff, or something that's like a chord progression and singing on top of it or something. So I have a couple ideas that are pretty cool. And again, thing of the ideas now, it's it's endless right now, but I'm stoked. So yeah, next week we will give you guys the full parameters of this. So and we'll probably give a better date for it too. So right now it's somewhere around, you said October 10th.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere in the early to middle of October.
Gotcha. Okay.
I love how this conversation just came full circle, because we were talking about like, what's going to be the thing that really stands out this year. I actually think episode 200 is going to be the thing that stands out. This will definitely
be the one to stand. This will definitely be the topper to try to top, if not anything.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's a legitimate challenge. It is music and dance, which we definitely ran with a lot of sports in season 3. We both talked about this, and it was like, yeah, but that really just depends. Like, if wrestling was not good, we would not have been invested in wrestling like that.
No, right? It was definitely a good year for wrestling, and it still is. I mean, very, very, very good. And we're getting into our WrestleMania era right now. So people who were with us, throughout the WrestleMania journey last year, if you guys are still around, start to cook, as we're going to start getting into, breaking down the PLEs, breaking down Raws and SmackDowns, really getting into the stuff with leading into WrestleMania, week and all that stuff. We can't promise that we'll probably do another live. It depends on what's going on. Maybe we'll do something, but we can't really confirm or deny that right now. But
yeah, we would just have to look at if there's any events that are local to us. We're not
exactly. We're not in the means to go to Vegas. Yes. So you're not going to see us in Vegas this year, unless somebody gives us the funds and just gives us a free ride to Vegas. We'll probably be there then. But
yeah, I mean, then, that's like we can't pass this up, man. We're going.
No. Like, so. If somebody gives us a free ride to Vegas and like front row seats to WrestleMania, I might have to, have a little bit of arguments just in order to get there. So. And you'll like, what's one of the things, like, yeah, you'll love me in the morning, but at least it'll be a good time. Like,
dude, yeah, that would be so. I mean, I feel like stuff like that happens once in somebody's lifetime. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've never received anything where it was like a comped trip and a show of that stature.
Me either. No.
Not to say it won't. I can't even think of any, like, just off the top of my head, like, I can't think of anything that's like really close to that, just because I'm thinking on like such an extravagant level. Right. It's almost like winning the lottery. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Once in a lifetime, like, not expecting it, but like those type of things. Yeah. I mean, if you ever got that opportunity, you would be shameful not to just go with it. And you'd be even more questionable to why you passed that up.
Yeah. I also got to say, The one thing that I do know that's going to be a highlight of this year is you and I are going to be back in person more.
Yes, that will be a thing. Once my job starts getting into the
Once your
4 and 3
schedule
day,
changes,
yes, because later in the year, probably springish, I should be starting like a 4 3 day work week, rotating. So we'll probably be able to get to do some more in-person stuff. So we will be back doing some in-person gigs. So we're stoked to do that. So we might have some changes coming up. We might do a lot more in-persons. We might do like at least maybe 1 or 2. I don't know how many, but we know last year it was really tough for us to kind of get in person. Other than the live, I think that was the only like
I think that was
1 or 2.
That was the only one for last season for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because we did the Swamp Thing one prior to the start of that year, so that technically wasn't in 2024.
Yeah,
So I think the live was the only one.
I think that Swamp Thing watch along we did holiday season 2.
Yeah.
Holiday season 2. So yeah.
Yep.
So
in person, excuse me. In-person episodes will come back this season. That is a guarantee, because we miss doing those things, and the live was definitely a prominent thing. That, you know, it's fun just doing the virtual things, but just being in person is ultimate. You know, obviously, because especially with podcasts now, there's a lot of virtual ones, but especially when you get to do in person right then and there, totally different vibe. So definitely expect some in-person stuff this season. And again, with the watch-alongs, we're hopefully going to continue to ramp them up. And we want you guys to keep on signing up, because we'll be doing some private watch-alongs with you guys and being able to chat with you guys in real time with that. So we're looking forward to that. So we're trying to, again, add more flavor and, you know, trying to interact with, you know, the fans and supporters of the podcast, so that we're just not always expecting to be talking and we never get any interaction from you guys. So any type of way that we can get to talk to you guys personally is always a good thing. So
I'm excited. This is going to be a good season, and thank you for everybody that is tuning in with us all this time. We are coming up on 200 towards the end of season 4, and then we'll be going into our 5th season, man.
It's nuts. It's just, I can't even think 5 right now. Jeez.
Yeah, it's just to think, when we are starting season 5, we'll be able to look back on the season and be like, Anth, remember that dance that you did?
Yeah.
And you'll be like,
they remember that riff you just ripped? Like,
remember when you learned how to play guitar last year?
Yeah.
It's so good. All right.
But before we get into what we want to talk about, I know we're just so stoked to talk about, you know, starting season 4. We got to mention, you know, what we want to do for episode 200, but we can't start without emphasizing something that within the podcast we really put a lot of effort into. And Jim's already smiling about this because we talked about it off air, and we got to do this. We have to put an unfortunate funeral to something. So within the podcast, we've been going week to week with uploading a weekly episode every week. And we've consistently done it for 158 weeks. And there were times where we didn't get it uploaded on a Friday, but then we did it on, you know, a Saturday because we had technical difficulties. Something came up, but we always at least got something done for that week. There were times where we couldn't record that week at all, but we made sure to batch episodes to make sure we still had our weekly episode out. There were times where we definitely wouldn't have had to worry about it. We could have easily just been like, you know, we just don't do an episode, but we were so committed at that point. I think once we really got into like the 40s and 50s, we're like, we got to keep this going.
I think once we got through our first year, once we got through season 1 and we did an episode a week, it's like, oh, there's no turning back now.
Yeah, we're committed, so we just got to keep this going.
Yeah.
So to know that, we did 158 episodes back to back to back to back is saying something. So here's the thing of what happened. And I'm glad it kind of happened on a technicality instead of being like, we just didn't put out an episode. So we were going to be putting out the best of 2024 episode this past Friday. So going into it,
the best of season 3. Yep.
Yeah, the best of season 3. I was making the thing up last week, putting in a bunch of different clips and stuff from our couple of our watch-alongs, and went to export. I'm like, all right, great. This episode's going to be fun. It has some funny parts, has some serious stuff, has some more uppers and downers, the whole 9 yards. So I start exporting, and maybe 5 minutes into it, it failed. I'm like, it's odd. Never really does that. I tried again. Same thing. So I'm like, okay, what's going wrong? Long story short, some of the files that I was uploading were MP4s. And when I'm doing my editing in Adobe Premiere Pro, it only exports MOV files. Now, again, for people that are probably more advanced with Premiere Pro, they're probably like, well, you probably could have just done this and done that. I did so many troubleshootings to try to work around it. Nothing worked. So I had to physically start converting all those MP4s. And I think there was maybe close to 15 or 20 clips that I had to start converting. And I just couldn't get them all done because, I do a lot of the editing at night after my kids go to bed, and I got to get up for work now at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So trying to put as much time into these things has been a little bit harder since starting the new job. Plus, with everything going on in the last year, half the reason why a lot of the content has kind of taken a little bit of a backstab too, just because, life and everything, making no excuses. But so it was to the point where it got to like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I'm like, all right, it's at this point, it's already been a week. We just got to give this a rest. And the fact that this video's not going to come out on time. So I'll still work on it. I'll still get it out there, but we're going to officially put a funeral on the consecutive weeks for the One Set podcast.
It's the streak has ended.
The streak has officially ended at a 158-1.
It's okay. So our last episode was the Bad Santa 2 Watch Long, episode 157. So
yeah,
we made it 157-1. We ate a W for 157 weeks straight. So
I am definitely not
ashamed of it at all.
Because again, we did everything in our power. And like I said, I'm glad it was just a technicality rather than just be like, hey, we forgot to do an episode that week. Or, something just technically, like, we didn't feel like putting out an episode. It was a technicality that, we had technical issues that just couldn't get done in time. And I'd rather it be that than just be something like, we were just lazy for a week. So,
yeah, well, just like the snap streaks on Snapchat, it's like, okay, yeah. I think my longest streak went to like 103 days or something like that. And then it might have been over 200. I don't know. At one of the years of my life, I used Snapchat a lot, and I was like, any rate,
yeah.
Once the streak ends, you just got to start another one. So it's like, do we think we can make it another 157? It's 3 years.
And think 3 years of consistent episodes every week. And like I said, we didn't mind if we didn't get it out on that Friday. Friday was the main day, but if it got out, the day after, at least it was still within that week.
Yep.
But knowing that we did that for a consecutive 157, 158 weeks is still saying something. And I'm very proud of us for doing that and being that committed, because I've never been consistent for anything for 157 weeks other than paying my bills.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
maybe not even that. I've probably missed a payment or two, but 157 episodes consistent for 157 weeks. That's something to definitely be proud of.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't my fault.
And we both had our shares, and we almost had a scare a couple weeks ago with that same thing, because Jim was doing an episode and he lost audio again. Not technically his fault, but we thought, and I was about to be like, you know what? Let's just call an audible, and we're like, you know what? It happened. Our streak's gonna end. But Jim's like, no, not today. Not my fault. I'm getting this thing in.
Yeah, I'm not letting that fall on my shoulders. I'm not letting Anthony down like that. I'm not gonna disappoint him.
It's all good, man. It's fine. Like we're good at it this point. I think we've gotten to the point where we've gotten so far with it that, hey, if it happened, we knew it would eventually happen. But we're officially putting down the funeral for the streak.
Yeah.
So here's to another 157 plus.
See you in 3 years.
See you in 3 years. Yeah.
All we have to do is make it 158 episodes.
So we're committed to the pod for another 3 years.
3 years.
So here you go.
Anthony,
whoopsie,
get up. actually drew the contracts for us. We are definitely on for another 3 years and a day.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right.
Anthony. Anyhow, so the streak has ended. We're starting a new one with this one. So, but what we wanted to get into was the fact that WWE made history this past week with bringing Raw to Netflix. And we want to break it down a little bit with you guys.
Absolutely.
I just want to start out and say that the whole production and the setup for this was, probably the best I've ever seen from WWE. And we were talking last night a little bit about it after it happened. And the one things that I can say is like just the LED screens on the very top of the stadium was something that was very, ideal, because you get to the point where you're in those stadiums and everything looks like ants down there. And to know that they thought about the people up there and say, hey, let's just put these LED screens so at least they're catching everything. That's got to be, and now do I think that that's going to be every week? No, I think they definitely just pulled all their marbles into this first episode to really just get numbers in there. But I think the whole production and setup was great for this one.
Yeah, I was just looking up what the inspirations were for the Intuit Dome. I heard that like the architectural design is inspired by, like, they wanted it to have a Colosseum feel, and just the shape of it definitely looks like a Roman Colosseum. Like, it's
absolutely, I can see it now.
Yeah, and like just seeing the people up high in the upper deck section, and we talked about the Titan John.
Yes, about
how they cut it in half so that the audience can see all the way around. We were talking about this,
which that was great, because now it puts more people in seats, so you have that extra thing in the back that they used to just cut off, but now that's like maybe an extra 100 or 200 seats that they get to fill, depending on stadiums. It's probably more, but in an actual legit arena, it's probably an extra 100, 200 people. So I think that was a good way to go. And I know we were talking and hearing about Hunter saying that he wanted to, bring down a lot of the, not necessarily the production, but like, a lot of the pyro and putting more money into production and I think one of the things was, leveling out that Titantron was a real good way to go.
When you're getting in arenas that are anywhere from, they're announcing 12 to 15,000 people
Yeah,
when they sell out an arena, but they're tarping off the whole one end of it for their
right.
Titantron. So, and I know that that's like one of the shorter ends of an oval, right? For a coliseum, like if you have a basketball court or a hockey rink, like naturally the arena is going to be elliptical. It's going to be like
Right.
an oval, right? So when they're tarping off the one side, figure there's probably 30%, maybe it's probably more than that, 30% on the longer sides and then 20% on the shorter sides. So if you're losing 20% over here and they're doing, 15,000 seats, they're putting another 5,000 people over here.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you're obviously losing some of it for the Titantron, so you might not be putting another 5,000 people in there. But if you can sell 3,000 more tickets, like, of course you're going to break the arena gate, right?
Of course. Yeah. It's
It looks awesome. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I'm just thinking number wise.
They knew what they were doing. I mean, if they wanted to fill the most amount of people, they had to degrade some of the setup in order to fill that thing. So
absolutely.
They were definitely thinking if they wanted to break records with this thing, they were going to have to, put some downsizing on the Titantron. But
Which, like you said,
new,
it wasn't the first time that they've done that.
no, they started doing that after Mania too, and I was all for it. I think it was a good look, and especially the new logo and a lot of the new, production values they put into it just for Netflix. I think was really nice too, and uh, you know, definitely obviously well thought out. They've had months to really get all this stuff going, and we were talking in the chat about the drones and all the different camera angles. Like
the drone shot looks awesome, dude.
drone shots were great. Another great feed, like especially when CM Punk turns back to that drone shot.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. So another way that I think Hunter is just, making the company that much more pristine to being like, what are other people not doing that we can implement to put us on that other level and away from everybody else that they're not doing that we can implement, and having those drone shots and extra camera angles around the ring. I'm not too set on the referee cams yet. I'll have to say that's something I'm like, about.
That's not new to Netflix specifically, but I don't like those ref cams.
No, that's not a Netflix thing. They definitely were doing that on Raws to test it out. And I get it, and they were testing on the PLEs, but I just have not been a fan of those things. It's a cool idea to get yourself like right then and there and having that like 3D almost like video game shot of them, but I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I commend them for testing it just to try to give us a different perspective, but I'm like next.
I'd rather have, the far out ring shot that you're like right in like the first maybe 5 to 10 rows and having that camera angle there rather than having the referee shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because that shot is pretty cool. Having like you right outside the ring, you're in the audience, but having that pan around. I think that's I would think that's obviously a better shot than being right inside the ring.
Yeah, I like that. And not for nothing here, but other sports, you're not going to get those camera shots because they're not scripted. Okay. Like
that too.
It's fair to acknowledge, right? Like Triple H is able to manipulate these drone shots the way that he is because everything is basically planned.
Exactly.
Positioning, when somebody is set to win the match, they're being told, you need to stay here. You need to face this way because the camera is doing its thing and we need to make sure that we nail this.
Yep.
Right? So you're not going to get that in anything because wrestling as sports entertainment, it's a category of its own, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just so crazy to appreciate, like, especially watching the difference in the show with Triple H taking over after Vince. It's I'm not saying it is an entirely new product, but it is not what we were watching 5 years ago, dude.
Definitely not.
Just
No. So Hunter's definitely on another level, and I think he's known what he's wanted to do since probably even before Vince left. But he's had these ideas, but obviously having to kick it up to Vince is just going to do what he wants to do.
right, and at the same time, it's not like Hunter was going to do all of these changes all at one time.
No, it's been
First
carved out.
First of all, the resources. I have it on mute on the TV, and I'm watching the drone shot that came in from the concession stands and is coming in and down to the ring. Dude, it's just so cool, man.
Yeah, it's really, really fun stuff. The only thing that I can really think of in other sports that can come close to it is in the NBA All-Star games. They used to have the side, and even I think they've done it at March Madness before too, like the side camera view where they are walking the camera up the courts with the basketball players as the game is going on. And even with the NFL, I think they have the overhead camera, but they had like another overhead, like play action one where you're actually in the game scenario and seeing that camera angle shot. But I think that quickly went away. But I've seen the NBA and the March Madness one where they're capturing the camera and it's on like a pillar. And as the guys are going up the court, that thing is running on like a pillar thing and it's just going up and down the court. Great shot, but something you just can't do for every game. But they did it for like the March Madness, and I think they did for NBA. They did it for like the All-Star game. But for wrestling, like you said, it's scripted. So that is something that like when those guys are done, they know what camera to go to, when this is going to be going on, when that's going to be going on, so you can get the best scenarios.
Which
with,
what
NFL
and to stand on, and when, if you're winning the championship or if you're posing for the crowd.
Where like basketball and football, we can say NFL's rigged, whatever, if you think so, but but they're not going to a specific camera 24/7 unless you're getting, touchdown dances. They're just going to go to the one camera guy that's like right there because that's the national TV camera. But they're not going over there because they were told. But, it's just the fact that I think Hunter is just doing an incredible job with his thought process where he wants to go with this Netflix thing. And I'll say this again. Is this going to be an every week thing with the production? I don't think so. I think they just wanted to hit the ball out of the park on the first episode to get people in and get them invested. I'm expecting next week to dial back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be so far dialed back, but I think it's going to be, a good bit dialed back to the point where, okay, we got you hooked in. Now let's get you. And they really didn't do match after match after match like a PLE. You did have some downtime in between because I think it started at like 8, and by 9:30 you only really had 2 matches going on. You had the Roman Reigns, and then you had Liv and Rhea, and I think
you had
and
Triple
Liv,
H.
they were still on around like 9:30, and Triple H's intro too.
You had Triple H's intro and The Rock's promo
and John Cena. Or John Cena went after Rhea and Ripley, right? Rhea and Liv, I think.
I think you are right. Hold on. Well, John Cena's on the TV now, and I'm like, what? I don't remember seeing Liv and Rhea right before this, but I also was paying attention to the podcast. I promise.
It was either before or after their match. One of those. It was around one of them.
Yeah,
but
I think they wanted to get Cena out there earlier because kids do go to bed.
That too. True.
I also don't know how many young kids love Cena because They didn't grow up with Super Cena like we did.
No. I mean, I know he was just happy to see Cody. And when Rock was doing the promo, he's like, why is Cody out in the audience? Isn't he fighting? Like, no, he's not fighting tonight. But, then, he was saying like, oh, Rock's talking about Cody and everything. But again, it doesn't know anything about John Cena. We got him a small John Cena figure for Christmas, but he's never really seen John Cena yet. So he's going to get a lot of them this year, obviously, but he's not going to know Cena like we know.
In his lifetime, he'll have known John Cena in the year that he was 4 turning 5, and that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be cool. But, it's like one of those things when, your favorite wrestler was getting ready to hang it up, that was like your guy that you grew up with, and
it was some
prior
other
to that you're not going to know,
some other wrestling fans' first year tuning into wrestling, and they're tuning in for their first year to see the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker retirement match.
Yeah,
like just crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, nuts. But do we want to break down each match, or do we just want to kind of highlight some cool things from the matches in the night? Because
I'm not. I don't think anyone's here to hear us break down match by match, move by move. So I think just a brief reaction and grading to each of the matches, and any notable segments.
Yeah,
and mentions,
that's cool.
Anything that we just remember off the dome, because we are recording this the night after that it happened. So
right,
24 hours later, anything that was really important to us that we remember, cool. I mean, I do have it kind of on the TV, but
right. I mean, I'll just start with saying, obviously, it was definitely weird with The Rock coming out and acting more babyface, because we've seen him in this Final Boss character coming off so heelish over the last couple months, and then how he left with Cody, saying that obviously the next time we meet, stuff's about to go down, and then you see him like acknowledging Cody and saying, "You've done a great job," and we're like, "Huh?" So it was definitely weird him coming off as the babyface, but then we're like, because is he trying to set this up for something with Mania for Roman or somebody else? Because now it's obviously to the fact that with the rumors saying that it looks like Cody and Cena are going to be fighting at Mania, so we'll probably be seeing how that's going to unfold, whether if Cena's going to win the Rumble or not, or how he gets in there. Maybe if he doesn't win the Rumble, he gets into the Elimination Chamber and wins that way. But we'll see.
I think for Cena's last year, well, he's going to be in both of them anyway.
Either way, he's going to be in both of them,
which
for sure.
Kind of leads me to believe he's not winning the Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if he doesn't win it, because when has there been wrestlers say like, I'm winning the Rumble this year, doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to win it, but he's going to be Cena is going to be at 90% of all the PLEs this year. So you're going to see Cena in almost every PLE. So whether he's going to be, in a title match or just, in a regular feud, he's going to be on those PLEs for sure this year.
I honestly think in 2020 Brock Lesnar fashion, entering at number 1, I think John Cena is going to enter at number 1. And I think that they are going to take advantage of the most opportunities to put him squaring up with as many people in that ring. That's
true.
Just to give us a moment in his farewell tour where he gets to work with a lot of people.
A lot of different people in one match.
In one moment.
That's a good thing there. I didn't think of that. Like, if he does come in one, he gets to, at least have...
He could stay in
seconds. Whatever.
I don't know if he's winning the Rumble, because they've been promoting him in the Elimination Chamber heavier than the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble sells
Yeah.
itself, right?
Right.
Like the Royal Rumble match with the winner getting to go to WrestleMania. The match sells itself. They like never even have to promote the Royal Rumble. Like that
Yeah.
that event will always sell out.
Absolutely. Right? We know the outcome of it. We know we're going to get, 30 guys coming, and whether it's legends, whether it's new guys, now the fact that they're getting people from other organizations coming in, like now it's to the point you really don't know who's in there. A couple of years back, it was like, okay, now it's getting too predictable. But now it's like you can actually get back to being like, oh, we really don't know who's going to be in there, because they always save at least out of those 30. Sometimes they save about 5 special, returns or surprises.
Yeah.
If it maybe, no more than 5. But so it's become more unpredictable over the last few years. But
I really feel like, was it Mania 38? Which would have been Royal Rumble 2022. I think that's the one where Brock Lesnar won at the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the actual number, but I do remember that.
Because WrestleMania 38 was when Roman and Brock wrestled.
Right.
And then 22, after Brock won. No, never mind. I'm thinking of something entirely different. No, because Brock wound up with the Universal title.
In 22?
Yeah, because Roman had No, because Roman's had the blue belt.
I was going to say, Roman's had the blue belt
had the blue belt
right?
since he won it in 2020. And then he won the black belt off of Brock.
Yeah.
They had Brock Lesnar win that title off of Big E.
Big E, right.
That's what happened.
Yep.
I feel like that was at the day one pay-per-view.
Yes? I think so.
They had Brock.
They almost pretty much did like a Kofi with him.
Pretty much.
Just, 5 to 10 second match, just squash him and get it off of him.
No, I think Brock won. I think Brock F5'd Big E. I don't
It was definitely a longer match.
I don't think that was a one-on-one match though. I think he won that in it was like a fatal 4-way, and then
I thought it was a one-on-one, but maybe it was a triple threat.
It was a fatal 4-way, and then all of a sudden Brock Lesnar was in the match, and then he won it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he got put into it last minute. I do remember that. Yeah,
he got put in it last minute so that he could get that belt off of Big E, so that
I do remember that now.
So the match with Roman at Mania could be the unification title match.
Yep, you're right. Yep, I do remember because Brock was away for a little bit, but then I forget who he took. Was it Strowman? Somebody like big, but then they got hurt or something happened, and all of a sudden the next week Brock comes back and he gets put into the match, and then we're like, yep, he's winning it. He's not going to come back and not win that thing.
Yep.
So yeah, that was that.
That Rumble. I guess the Rumble 2023 where Cody won was like the last predictable pay-per-view.
Yes.
We were all like, okay, Cody's winning. And then like there were no surprises in that men's Rumble at all. It was
not at all.
It was literally they had 30 guys from their regular men's roster.
Yeah, no surprises whatsoever.
No, and it was
the women had more surprises than the actual men's pay-per-view.
Than the men's Rumble. Yeah, I think
yeah.
I think that was the year that Jordan Grace from TNA was in the women's Rumble. And
yeah, which was cool. Yeah.
There were more NXT women in that year.
Yeah, definitely a lot more NXT people.
Yeah, but now I really think last year everyone felt like it was going to be either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk, but I don't think everybody knew. Like, I didn't think that they were going to be the final two for sure. It definitely felt like it,
Yeah.
but I think everyone knew one of them was definitely winning,
Yeah.
right?
There was definitely a lot of like last minute scenarios coming into those couple months where it was like, okay, I think CM Punk might win, but then he got hurt in that match. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, audible, Cody's getting this. Cody gets it. Let's set him up to face The Rock. No, we don't want that. Or no, we get Rock and Roman. No, nobody wants that. We want Cody to be into it.
The
They pull an audible there.
the
And
whole pivot I thought was handled really well in hindsight. Just looking back a
yeah,
year later, it's like how Triple H was able to mastermind gauging the audience.
I was going to say, which
He-
kind of makes you think, do you think they did that purposely to gain some traction going into Mania because they knew this was going to be a big Mania, so they needed to pull something to really get a lot of eyes on this? Because this was like big to know that like Cody gave up his position to have The Rock face Roman.
Yeah, either
And it was
that.
all over. So it's almost like, do you think they meant to do that to get backlash and then be like, okay, we made a mistake. Let's turn this into Cody's story, blah, blah, blah.
You're saying, and I'm asking, do you think that Triple H staged all of it intentionally to
Yeah.
get Cody as over as he got for when he won at WrestleMania 40, just to garner the reaction of him
That
winning?
and just to get that many more people to be interested in WrestleMania 40 because it's WrestleMania 40. How do we start, getting people's eyes on it? Drama. You gotta get some type of drama going.
Yeah,
So they figured, okay, let's take the scenario of like
they
Cody's obviously winning the Rumble, but he gives up his position of going to WrestleMania, facing Roman, and just taking his free ride, giving it to The Rock, and because obviously Cody was going into it babyface at an everywhere. Everybody was already, on the Cody side, but I really don't think they expected that much of a backlash. I think they probably figured, okay, people will not like it, but we'll be able to get through it. But I don't think they I don't think they expected that big of a backlash. It was on all the major news outlets for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they did pull the audible and were like, well, how are we going to get out of this? But something now thinks to me is like, if they wanted a lot of people to tune into this big WrestleMania 40,
it was a marketing ploy the whole
a
time.
marketing ploy to get more people, because if you're trying to get the most amount of people to watch your product, you got to be in the face of everybody. So what do you got to do? You got to cause drama, get in the news, and get more people to be like, what's this thing going on? I want to tune into it because something's going on. Some big drama thing's going.
Well, they pull, and part of the reason why I definitely think it could have been scripted was because they pulled the trigger on the whole Cody surrendering his title win to The Rock right before the WrestleMania 40 press conference in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
It kind of just makes all sense because, like, acting and putting little pieces and then just acting on it. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
obviously things probably could have had to been swayed. Like, if this happens, we go here. If that goes, we go here. But, they had the marketing ploys to really get everything going. But we have, train A. If this goes that way, we go this way. If this goes that way, we go that way. But we can manipulate things as the story goes. But this is the way we want to do it.
so, I mean, having watched the documentary, once it finally came out 3 months later,
And we're going way off the pay-per-view, but still, it's fine.
You mean Raw on Netflix? No,
Yeah, we're going way off Raw, but it's fine.
we're just talking about how unpredictable that this Rumble is, and how unpredictable that the match card is for Mania.
Right.
Like, we have ideas, but there's a lot of ideas.
There's a lot of scenarios that even from last year to this year, it's still unpredictable what can happen. I mean, we're only probably sure that Cena and Cody could be fighting, but it hasn't been confirmed, but it's just been rumors. You never know. I heard obviously Rock's not fighting now because he has to reshoot things for Moana or another movie. But again, could just be little things that, catch us off guard and something might happen. You never know. I don't know.
I just want to point out, and we wouldn't have been able to address this if we had actually gotten this recorded last night.
Mm-hmm.
So The Rock was on NXT tonight.
Yes.
And when I texted you, okay, so the worst part of this week in wrestling as of now was The Rock's promo at the end of NXT, okay?
Which I did not see, and I totally forgot that he was going to be on NXT, so I did not see that.
I actually happened to get home from work just after 8 o'clock and put on the TV because, like, Cheyenne was doing schoolwork and was on the phone, and I put on the TV in the bedroom, and I was like, oh, yeah, NXT New Year's Eve was on, and The Rock's supposed to be on tonight. I caught most of the show, and most of the show was really good. Granted, I don't pay that close of attention to NXT, so just want to say congrats to Julia, who's the new NXT Women's Champion, who, like, I kind of figured that was going to happen.
I figured she was going to be, taking it, because I think, what's her name? Ruiz?
Roxanne Perez.
That's right. I can definitely see her in the Rumble and becoming part of the main roster.
Getting moved up, yeah.
I think she's definitely getting moved up.
And just to, might as well keep this one going. Congratulations to Obafemi, the new NXT champion. So Trick Williams got pinned, and I was like, okay, I'll see you in the Rumble. Right?
See you in the Rumble for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I remember last year, he got that off of Carmella Hayes, and Carmella Hayes is now in the main roster. So here comes Trick Williams' time to shine. Rumble, probably part of the main roster too. I haven't been able to keep up on, his year, but I do remember him taking it off of Carmella last year, and he was the big thing at that point.
Yeah, whoop that Trick, man. He got over in NXT and definitely and stayed over for a year,
a good year.
And then some. So I'm excited to see where he goes on the main roster. I'm hoping. I think it's good because I feel like Carmelo Hayes is really just starting to feel important. Like
he's definitely getting established at this point. Yeah.
He's getting time on TV. I think SmackDown going to 3 hours will be a great thing for him. He'll be on TV. He's already been on TV every week. Give us lengthier matches with that guy in it. Because, and
I think his matches with Andrade were definitely proof that, like, okay, this guy's got something. Because those matches were incredible.
They're stellar, and it's like, it's not the last time we see Carmella versus Andrade. And, dude, take my money, man.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
The little that I have, take it. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about how Triple H is doing a knockout job just on the creative spectrum. Yeah. And I in The Rock's promo tonight, this will wrap it up, he did say, I think it's really interesting how a year ago, all of y'all were telling me to leave Cody alone. And then last night, I was nice to the guy, and y'all are telling me not to be nice to Cody. And he's like, you do realize that everything is for a reason, and I know what I'm doing. So why don't you sit back and just enjoy the ride, okay? So
because Rock can do whatever he wants.
And Rock can do whatever he wants. That's what he's saying. He's saying, yeah, no, me and Cody aren't going to happen at WrestleMania, so, but I am going to be around on TV, so I might as well, for now, just be decent to him.
Yeah.
C-
So again, him and Hunter are, like this, and they're just as much as on the same ploy to, figure all this storyline out. So I think just their scheme on how they're letting this all go just keeps it more unpredictable than anything that's going on right now.
Well, it keeps it unpredictable because not even they know. Right?
That too. And for the fact that if they just keep on playing it off how the audience reacts, they just, okay, this is how we're going. This is how they're acting. This is how we're going to go until another thing shifts. So because that just keeps them on their toes. Like, okay, we don't know what's going to go. It just depends on how the reaction goes.
That's essentially what The Rock was saying at the end of his nothing promo tonight was, we literally aren't who we are without you. So we can't be as great as we are if you're not loud. Basically telling them that they need to be loud, and that's because they have the little decibel reading meter that runs up, and that's just The Rock telling everyone, hey, get louder.
Yeah. Be loud for me. Yeah.
I guess because he went from the Intuit Dome last night to an NXT arena that holds.
That's like going to a mansion, then going into a garage.
A garage. They were in a gymnasium at best.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you watch indie wrestling shows in a gymnasium and you're like, this is what NXT feels like.
Right, exactly.
Just definitely more crowded than a gymnasium indie show. But
how about we do this to sum everything up? Like, out of the 5 matches that happened, what was your favorite of the night? And we'll just briefly talk about that, because at this point, I mean, I think every match had their moments, but I guess I'll start off. I'll probably say it comes between the tribal combat match, just because we had Roman getting back his Ulafala, and it's a toss-up between the Liv Morgan match and the main event, CM Punk and Rollins, because I don't think we're seeing the last of CM Punk and Rollins, so that's why I can probably toss that and give it to Liv and Rhea, because obviously Rhea getting her championship back knows that that's how she's going to go. And I think we missed out on a Becky Lynch return last night too. So I think that's probably where they're going to go with that. So I'm pretty stoked to see where Rhea is, because I think they'll give Liv some time off, and we'll probably see her in the Rumble.
Did you see that Becky was there? Like,
she was definitely there. Yeah. I heard that Taker probably took her spot. Which
Triple H must have just decided backstage, oh no, like, I actually found a way better time that I want to bring you out. I don't want to do it now. And they told Mark to
could wait until next week or the following week to do that, because it'll be closer to the Rumble. It'll be closer to a lot more things that are going down. So she's definitely coming back.
They probably,
it's just a matter of when.
They probably realized that they had so much stacked in their debut episode, and Hunter was like, I'm going to save you for next week so that you are like the big return for next week's episode.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's so many things that were going on. There's only so many, moments you can have, and you want to wait to keep on giving something every week for the show, because you're still getting new viewers every week that are coming in from Netflix. So, and people that probably didn't even watch wrestling, who have Netflix accounts, that are like, oh, WWE's on Netflix, let me go watch it. So you got to save moments for each of these next couple weeks for people to be interested to watch, and then be able to come back the next week. So yeah, Becky Lynch is definitely coming back soon. Just don't know whether it's going to be next week or the following.
Charlotte too.
Again, Charlotte coming back soon.
But
Who else? I mean, we got Logan Paul, which they did not. I thought it was Logan Paul and Gunther that was going to be fighting last night, but we didn't see that. So we're getting a lot of people coming back soon.
It's strange because WWE's Instagram story had Logan Paul as returning to Raw tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they showed him in the stands. I'm like,
yes.
I'm like,
and I saw that too.
I'm like, nope. Something else was planned, and I wonder if it was that bastard Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, so
yeah.
I just want to say,
are you going off him or I am? Because this is the second time that I've been screwed with Steve Austin, and I'm about to have it.
Look, I'm just going to say this is strike two, and
strike two. Yeah,
you know, I was texting you yesterday morning when the report came out that Steve Austin was apparently pulled from Raw, and I was like, you know what? I think I let that guy off a little too easy with him not showing up for Mania, because that moment would have been absolutely perfect. And that
stadium would have went, because I know, and I said it in our post reaction from WrestleMania, our section was just chanting Austin that whole time that Rock was out there. Like, there was nothing else anybody was caring about. We couldn't even really fathom what Rock was doing, because we knew we were just waiting for that glass to break. And we were saying, Austin's coming. Austin has to come.
You know what? I wonder if it's petty bullshit between Triple H and The Rock, knowing that Austin was above them. And they're like, nah, we're just going to keep Austin underneath our thumbs here. And we want to be the Titans. Because at some point, Steve needs to be knocked down a couple pegs and kept there, and we need to be the elites, because we're the ones that are running this ship now. Why should he get all of the glory and all of the praise when he comes back after he's been gone for 20 years, after he wouldn't do the job to Brock, this, that, and the other? You know,
hopefully it's not that, but you know, there's always little petty things that go down that people can't leave alone. But
the other end of it is Steve Austin wanting more money and WWE not wanting to pay it. And I'm like, number one, Steve, you don't need that much more money. Two,
no,
WWE, you have the money to pay that man what he asks. So, if
both ends of the spectrum,
unacceptable for me. You know, for Austin being our favorites, and Matt Holland, hi.
Hi.
I am, because I am welcoming you into the chat for this specific moment. And he's not here on the podcast. I'm just saying, he was like, why did he need to be there? Or why did Taker need to be there? I'm like, you leave us alone, Matt.
Hey, you shut your damn mouth.
You shut your damn mouth with that.
But no, like, they robbed us of probably the biggest pop
in WrestleMania history.
In WrestleMania history, and that whole year. If Austin came out in that moment, biggest WrestleMania moment ever.
Well, that might be the reason why there was no Austin, because they didn't want his pop to be louder than Cody actually winning the freaking match.
That too. That's true.
That just came to my mind, and I'm like, I mean,
you can think of that too.
I mean, I think give the fans what they freaking want. Like, if that was the case,
Taker being there was okay. It made sense, but obviously it made more sense to have Austin come out to face The Rock, because I mean,
they had their trilogy
of things, The Rock and Austin. When you think of WWF, WWE, you think of Rock and Austin.
Yeah.
Other than, it depends on your era, but for me and Jim coming up, you think of Rock and Austin.
It was Rock and Austin.
And Austin. So they took the moment away from us.
Yeah, they sure did. And I mean, I was literally watching. Oh, we were watching the McMahon documentary, and I don't know if it was Bruce Pritchard or if it was Paul Heyman, but somebody was talking about, somebody said, Austin and Rock, you had your top one guy in Austin, and you had The Rock basically as 1A.
Yeah.
Like they were your two top guys in the company.
Yeah.
For a good 3 years, I would say. I mean, yeah, the other guys were important, but they weren't Rock and Austin. And
Nope.
Triple H knows that. I think Triple H had more work cemented into his legacy after Rock and Austin were gone.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those guys knew that, I mean, they can do whatever, but they weren't getting over Rock and Austin within those 3 years.
Nope.
Those guys were cemented at the top, and nobody was going over where they were.
But I think it's also telling, like, how involved that The Rock has been. You know, he came back and he did his run with CM Punk.
Yeah.
And John Cena back at Mania's 28 and 29. And then what he's done in the last year. Austin can not show up for 5, 6, 7 years. And then he comes back and everybody goes absolutely berserk.
Yeah.
There's no other guy that can say that. You know who definitely can't say it? Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. That is something that, you know, I'm like, when's the last time, other than him being, you know,
Heel Hogan,
when's the last time you've seen him being booed out of the building? Probably not that bad since when he, like, did the NWO debut. and I wasn't around seeing that, but just the fact that having that type of nostalgia of like, wow, they are booing this guy out of the building was probably the same almost feeling of like when he debuted the NWO and they were just booing him out of the building. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And the fact that he kept trying to do his promo while he knew people were booing him, and in his mind, he's probably like, let me just get through this so I can get the hell out of here, you know? And he kept trying to promote his beer on top of that.
Well, that was the whole reason he was there, because they're sponsoring Raw on Netflix, right?
But, yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. Hulk Hogan on Monday Night Raw's debut on Netflix was as cringe as the Jason Kelsey show.
I didn't get to see that.
Dude, it's bad, man.
Well, I was wondering why it was at 1 a.m. Now I know why. So there you go.
I love Jason Kelsey. I realize that he is cemented into the history of the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I am not disrespecting him. He wouldn't like it if I went up to him and was just like, your show stinks. I don't think he would care because I am nobody. Okay.
Yeah, he might break he might break your phone. So
yeah,
but I get it. I mean, he's trying to do multiple outlets and try new things, you know, post-football guy, trying to not keep himself relevant, because he can just do the podcast and be fine.
I just think that he never in his wildest dreams thought he was going to be as popular as he is now.
I don't think so either.
So he's getting ideas pitched and thrown his way, and he's probably saying yes to everything.
He's just riding the wave because he probably knows it can stop whenever it wants to. So he's just riding the train of like, hey, I'll take this, I'll take that, because one of them's got to work, and if it don't, I got something else to go off of.
And honestly, I like this show might just knock him down a couple pegs and be like, all right, stick to the podcast, or stick to being a sports broadcaster.
Maybe take a couple no's the next time. Like,
yeah, he's got to learn to say no when people want him, because he's a fun guy to be around. I would imagine he is a blast to be his friend in real life, like his real life good friend, a close friend of his.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he trying to do that show is so uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing like Rock. I mean, when he went to Hollywood, he was doing this movie, that movie, this, and everything until he did that movie with that young girl was like
The Disney movie.
the Disney movie. And we're like, yeah, that's your lowest point. Like, you should probably start saying no to a couple things at that point.
Yeah, at that point,
what was it like not fairy tale, but like him being a football player and his daughter was, there, but he was going through a divorce with his wife and everything, something like that. And, it was definitely one of those like cringy Disney movies, but it's like, okay, yeah, maybe not saying yes to everything, Rock, but
it's called The Game Plan.
That's right. Yeah. The Game Plan. Yeah. That was probably one of his D-rated movies. Like, probably I would not see, like, one of those things like, yeah, you might not want to see that after the first take. Just, you might not even get through it.
Yeah, other than I think it's fair. It's only fair to acknowledge, I thought for what it was worth, the Jey Uso Drew McIntyre match was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good match. I didn't particularly care about it only because there was so much else going on the show. But let's think about this. Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, and Drew McIntyre have been working their asses off. Okay?
Absolutely. Hats off to them. They've had both very good years in 2024.
I feel like Triple H was rewarding them and saying, you guys are getting a match on the Netflix debut.
Yeah.
And that was Triple H saying, this is our debut episode. It's going to be watched by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And him saying, I realize you guys don't have singles titles right now, but you guys have done a knockout job. And that was just Triple H. It was Hunter's way of saying thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just glad they're keeping Jay like in the singles run along with, this whole bloodline thing. Like they're not, letting him be forgotten as a singles opponent. They're keeping him within the spotlight of the bloodline stuff, but they're also keeping him away from it enough where he's still being his own single person. Because even when during the trial combat, they didn't have Jay come out. It was only Sammy and Jimmy. I don't think Jay came out from what I know of. But it's good that they continue.
No, because he had his own match going. And
exactly.
It's a good thing because, I mean, Solo's bloodline is down Tongaloa, right?
Yeah. So it's good that they're keeping Jay relevant, even while still being within the bloodline. Because everybody was like, well, he lost the Intercontinental Championship. Now he's going to go to the bloodline. He's going to lose all his credibility. But I think Hunter's doing a good job with continuing to keep Jay affiliated with the bloodline, but also saying like, hey, I still am my own person. I'm still getting my own matches, and I'm still trying to stay relevant with that. So it's good that, he's still having that opportunity and showing that, he's not to be messed around with. He's not just going back to the bloodline to be, the puppet on the wall. He's a different person than what he was when he was originally in the bloodline.
And I do think that Drew McIntyre is on another level compared to a year ago. Like the dude did stellar work in 2024. Man.
Yes. Yeah.
So outside of that, I am excited to see where Jay goes from here. If he gets a WrestleMania moment for the IC title.
Something tells me that this isn't the last time that Jay is going to be doing something involved with Roman. I think, because like we said before, I was away from the incident because we had the Jey Uso and Roman fight and he lost it. Mm-hmm. But now I'm starting to get back those thoughts. And I was thinking about this last night. that eventually when Roman loses the, because I think he's going to get the belt back soon. For some odd reason, something tells me he's going to get that belt back soon.
Roman, you mean?
Roman, yes.
Yeah, you were saying that to me last night. You think that the Rock Roman match is going to have the belt in there, so that you get you get the People's Championship. I did read that they were pitching that around for The Rock and Cody, and they were talking about Cody being the People's Champion, but it's like, why would you want to have Cody with the People's Champion?
Exactly.
If Roman is as over as he is,
right,
and they want Roman to be like the Austin who doesn't need the title to be relevant. They want Roman to be like relevant regardless, which he's proving.
So my thing is, they had a little segment with Roman and Paul Heyman, saying, obviously you got your Ulafala back. What can I do to, bring this celebration to the public? And he said January 27th. So obviously they're gonna. I'm not sure what day. I think that might be a Monday.
It's the Raw, the go home Raw right before the Rumble.
So I think Roman is going to go back to his heelish persona, because now he's got his Ulafala back. He's got his, so he's going to go back to that, like, hey, everybody around me is working under me. You're not, because he had to go down the path of like, okay, you guys are not below me. We're all working together. But now he has that Ulafala back. He's got his power back. He's got his balls back. So he's like, okay, now I'm back to the original Roman where everybody's below me and I'm this guy, everybody's below me. And I think that's going to break up Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sammy, because they're going to go back to be like, okay, well, Roman's back to his own old self. We're not getting involved. And I think this might eventually lead to something happening with Jey and Roman, where we might get this pass where Roman and Rock fight. Roman beats the Rock. Rock acknowledges Roman. And then we get Jey down the line, because this goes back full circle, that Jey was the one that initially began the bloodline with Roman, and I think he's the ultimate one that has to dethrone Roman.
I remember saying that when we were trying to figure out who was going to end Roman Reigns' title reign.
And I think, even though, I think Roman's going to get that belt back sometime this year. And I think I'm going to go back with my original point that I think Jey has to be the one to eventually dethrone Roman off of that belt and take the Ulafala off. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen this year or within the next 2 years, but I think Jey is going to get a main event championship run within these next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're playing out this whole Samoan thing for the next year or two, I think that's something that can go down the line, because I still feel that if they're going to have somebody to eventually take down Roman, because he's back within power, so he's going to go back into a heelish character, and that's going to mess up a lot of the things that everybody that came back to him. So they're going, okay, well, he's back to his old form. He's not working with us. He's almost working against us now. It's going to bring everybody apart. And what was one of the things that Jey was saying? If you're going to start treating me like you did before, I'm out. I'm not the same person. You disrespect me just one time, I'm out. And I think that's eventually what's going to happen with Jey. Jey will probably be the first one to get out, because he was the first one to tell Roman, I'm not all about that. You do that, I'm done. It'll probably take Jimmy and Sammy will probably be, the next. And I think Jimmy will be the last, because he was the first one to get back to Roman when he was, doing everything, getting back and everything.
Or they leave Jimmy with Roman.
Something along those lines. Or they just all leave at one point. Could be. But I still think eventually down the line, my faith is coming back that Jay is going to be the one to dethrone Roman because he's the one that started out the bloodline with Roman. So the only person that knows Roman inside and out the most is Jay.
Yeah.
And if you want to solidify Jay's
Main event
story or main event Jay Uso, he has to win that belt and take it off Roman eventually down the line. Not saying it's going to happen this year, could happen next year, but I think that's got to happen to give him his championship.
If I had to put a timetable on that, because I mean, we have to get the Rock and Roman first. That has to happen. Right?
And like I said, I think that'll happen post Roman and Rock. So we got to get through that first.
Which might not even happen at this Mania. It might be next year.
Yeah.
Because what they're going to want to do is make sure that Cody is so far from the Rock and Roman Reigns that nobody's even thinking about like Cody being involved in that. They're going to want that to literally just be Roman and the Rock. And that's it.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody else involved, it's going to be people in the Samoan family tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because they don't change the titles over that often. Like the main titles don't change hands that often. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I should say I definitely agree with you that Jey Uso is going to retire Roman Reigns.
I have full faith that that's eventually going to happen. I think if you want to end the bloodline story at the very ending of whatever this comes to, I think it has to end the ultimate way it came in and end with Jey Uso dethroning Roman
and Roman being done
and Roman, walking out and being done with WWE.
Yep.
Because I think, if you're writing a story, you have these two people that form something. And at the end of the day, they're working against each other. And that guy who was once below the main character overcomes, like a David and Goliath thing, overcomes the power and he takes out the main guy.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking of that type of storyline, I think that's the ultimate way you end it. The little guy wins over the big guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's money.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if that happened as quickly as WrestleMania 42 next year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to take until WrestleMania 44.
So that would be way too long. I would definitely think, if not this year, I would set it up for next year for sure.
Yeah. Well, if they do the Rock and Roman at this WrestleMania, I think that would just move along the Jey Uso beating Roman next year and Roman being like,
yep.
Yeah, okay, I have nothing left to do. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think, at that point, you got, unless they have more going with Solo Sikoa and these other guys, I don't know where they go with them right now.
I don't think Roman is going to do. I will be surprised if Roman Reigns is around as long doing all of the stuff, which is not even fair to say because the guy has been literally in the main event of WrestleMania every year minus 35 and 36 since WrestleMania 31. But
so
I just think that I think in the next 2 to 3 years, he's going to be done after that.
Yep.
And real quick before we wrap this up, I do want to go back and watch the CM Punk and Seth Rollins match one more time, but It was really stellar, minus the pedigree on the commentator table. That's my only complaint. They could have done
Waste.
done without it.
Yep.
If that table wasn't made to break, obviously it's a newer, upgraded commentary table for Netflix.
Right.
If those tables aren't built to break like the other ones did,
Don't do it.
Just get rid of the commentary table spots, or build them differently, because people love the commentary tables collapsing. I know I do.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the nostalgic things about them that you always have like one of the biggest moves on the table. So, but if you're not expecting that to be a thing anymore, don't put it into the regime.
Well, and the thing too, I understand trying to do a pedigree on a commentary table and make sure you're getting the prep right so you don't break the table.
Yeah.
You break the table, you pay for the table. You know this.
Yeah, buy the table.
You buy the table. You break the table, you buy the table. I do want to watch it back. People are claiming it was a classic. I do like Jey Uso just kind of getting the roll-up pin on.
Yeah.
True. Sorry, I am backtracking for a second there. Let's. I thought overall Raw on Netflix was really good. I thought it was a little weird that this is my last thing I want to say about it. I thought it was a little bit weird that you didn't have either of your top two champions cutting at least a promo. You had Gunther with a package, like a video package, and you had Cody in the audience as a spectator.
Out in the ring.
He got in the ring when Kevin Owens got involved. And I was like, that's the most that you're doing with your top champion for your company on the Raw debut on Netflix. It's a little weird.
Right.
But I think he's going to be all over Raw leading up to WrestleMania anyway. Like, he's going to be on both shows again, just because.
I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to what they're going to pull out with Raw and Netflix. Like I said in the beginning, do I feel we're getting the same production as this past Monday every Monday? Hell no. I think it definitely will be scaled down, but they could, scale it back up on certain times with certain events. But I think you'll go back to a more, scaled down version of Raw come next week, and it'll be your typical what we'll typically see. But as far as,
I think the Raw after WrestleMania, you're going to get a big show like that.
You will get a big show for sure. And, because Netflix wants to see, like, they want to prove to Netflix that this is something you haven't seen before. So they're going to have certain parts and certain times for Raw to be like, explode, explode, explode. We want big things. So we're definitely going to see bigger things on Raw probably this year, because they want to prove it to Netflix that, yeah, you guys did make a good deal, and we can bring in the numbers and you're going to see it. So I think having that is going to be making the product even more fun to continue to watch on Mondays. So
dude, if they do the Raw after WrestleMania at the Sphere, game over.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Game over.
So I'm stoked. So another win for Hunter and WWE. I'm stoked. So we'll see what goes down on SmackDown. But I guess we can say this is the unofficial start to the road to WrestleMania. Dude, let's have another great year with this WrestleMania run. I
am stoked for it. It's going to be a great year. Next week, we are going to be recapping NFL Wildcard Weekend. We are in the postseason.
Yes.
For football, everybody. Okay?
Yeah.
Eagles are in.
Lots of stuff going on.
We'll be talking lots of NFL next week, and Anthony and I will have a full rundown of our Season 4, Episode 200 challenge.
Yes.
So those
will be fun.
That's what we're going to be looking forward to for next week. And love you so much, brother. Thank you for 3 years.
I'm here.
All right. I literally just said thank you for 3 years, and we can cut it to you just saying, yeah, man, excited. Something
Thanks,
like that.
man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Here's to season 4. Here's to another year of uh, new things coming, new laughs, and I hope you guys are here for the ride. If you're not following us or subscribed, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We're here every Friday uploading new episodes. Again, I'm Anthony, and I'm here with my co-host and best friend, Jim Green. This has been the One Set Podcast. Make sure you check us out on all our socials at One Set Pod, and hit us up on Patreon. And we have a Gmail, onesetpod at Gmail. So thank you guys. Here's to season 4. We'll see you guys next week.
All the love, y'all.